As a legacy character on General Hospital, Maxie Jones is such a fan favorite that whenever the character is off the show for any period of time, viewers notice and aren't happy about it. The daughter of popular super couple Frisco Jones and Felicia Jones, Maxie was played by a series of child actors until Robin Richards was cast in 1993. After her departure in 2004, Kirsten Storms was cast as Maxie, debuting in May 2005. However, during one of her medical leaves in 2011, Storms was temporarily recast with Jen Lilly for nearly a year, and then later, in 2016, Molly Burnett stepped into the role of Maxie for a month when Storms required more time off. Although Storms had to take a couple of days off due to the flu in 2018, she later signed a new contract with GH so that Maxie's story can continue, and what a story it has been. PJ's tragic death gave Maxie a new lease on life. Michael Yarish/ABC-born Mariah Maximiliana Jones, Maxie is named after her maternal great-grandparents, Maximilian and Mariah Ramirez. While just a few years old, Maxie suffered from Kawasaki disease and received a heart transplant from her cousin, BJ Jones. As a teenager, Maxie's first crush was on Lucky Spencer, but she lost her virginity to Kyle Radcliffe, who recorded it and posted it on the internet. Maxie's relationship with undercover cop Jesse Baudry ended when he was killed in the line of duty, and she went on a downward spiral of hard partying. She turned to Lucky for comfort, and they slept together, despite his being married to Liz at the time. She also got involved with Cooper Barrett, but when she feared he was falling for Lulu, seduced his army buddy Logan Hayes for revenge. After reuniting with Cooper, they went on the run when he was a suspect in Georgie Jones's murder. He was found dead hanging in his room, but Maxie was insistent Cooper was innocent and worked with Damian Spinelli to prove that Diego Alcazar was the real killer. Ultimately, Maxie and Lulu Spencer went from enemies to best friends, and moved in together. Friendship got complicated for Maxie and Spinelli. Rick Rowell/ABC Maxie tried to keep Spinelli in the friend zone, but they soon gave in to the feelings they both had for each other. She accepted his proposal, but when he saw how nervous she was about actually tying the knot, he agreed to have a knot wedding instead. Unfortunately, Maxie sleeping with the artist Robert Frank destroyed her relationship with Spinelli. She attempted to flirt with Drive Matt Hunter to get Spinelli to fight to win her back, but the plan backfired when he just broke up with her instead. However, Maxie's relationship with Matt fell apart when he was suspected of killing Lisa Niles. She married him to avoid having to testify against him, but Matt remembered his crime and confessed. Maxie tried to turn her life around by offering to be Dante and Lulu's surrogate, but it turned out the baby she was carrying was actually Spinelli's from a heartbroken one-night stand. She initially let Dante and Lulu have the baby, but when the truth came out and a custody battle occurred, the judge granted custody of the baby girl to Spinelli, agreeing to name the infant after Maxie's sister. Spinelli took Georgie with him and Ellie when they moved to Portland. Maxie left Port Charles to get her head together and returned with a new boyfriend, Levi Dunkelman, but she also found herself drawn to her handsome subletter, Nathan West. It turned out that Levi was really a con man after the Aztec jewels belonging to her mother, Felicia Jones, and Maxie dumped him. She and Nathan eventually made their relationship official, and finally tied the knot on New Year's Day, 2017. Unfortunately, their happiness was short-lived. Michael Yada/ABC however, shortly after the wedding, Maxie left for Portland on business for a few months, and although Nathan was excited for her to return in May, it was revealed that she had extended her trip. When she eventually returned to her husband, she was concerned to hear that he'd been spending an awful lot of time with nurse Amy Driscoll. Thankfully, they were just working on the advice book Ask Man Landers, so she had nothing to be jealous of. At Thanksgiving, Maxie revealed to Nathan that he was going to become a daddy, but shortly after the new year in 2018, Nathan was shot and killed by Cesar Fison, leaving her heartbroken and alone. Peter August gave Maxie a shoulder to lean on, and even was the one to deliver her son, James, on the side of the road when they couldn't get to the hospital in time. But the revelation that Peter is really Nathan's brother, Henrik Feisen, left Maxie shattered once again, and she vowed revenge on him for the betrayal. But just as Maxie was able to repair her relationship with BFF Lulu after her story had led to Caesar resurfacing in Nathan's death, she also found herself drawn back to Peter. The two tried to deny their feelings for a long time but eventually began dating for real. And even as Peter struggled to cover his past evil deeds, Maxie found herself pregnant with his baby and planning their wedding. Folks did try to warn Maxie about Peter, but she wouldn't listen. Maxie and Peter's wedding day did not go well. ABC Maxie was heartbroken when Lulu was nearly killed in an explosion at the floating rib and sent off in a coma to a clinic to recover. Which meant that she wasn't around to be Maxie's maid of honor. Not that the wedding actually happened, since Obrecht interrupted and Peter's crimes were finally exposed. Horrified, Maxie wanted nothing to do with Peter anymore and teamed up with his sister, Britt Westbourne, to trick him into thinking she'd miscarried to keep him away from her baby. Her plan then expanded to giving her daughter to Brooklyn Ashton, who was faking her own pregnancy. Although the scheme was complicated by Peter disposing of the real nurse Chloe Jennings, Maxie was planning to hire and replacing her with a nurse working for him. At a secluded cabin, Maxie managed to thwart the evil nurse and ran off into the woods, where she went into labor and delivered baby Louise with the help of Austin Holt, who was hiking in the area. Nurse Jennings knocked him out and tried to get the baby, but Maxie lured her into a trap and then called Brooklyn to have her pick up her newborn baby. Later, at the hospital, Maxie claimed that the nurse had stolen her baby for Peter. She was found dead and Peter had gone missing. Maxie found herself spending too much time at the Quartermaines with her daughter and decided she had to leave Port Charles or risk blowing her baby supply apart. On her way back to Port Charles, Maxie stopped in Nixon Falls to visit Nina and was later horrified when Nina warned that Peter was on her trail. When Gladys Corbin overheard Maxie and Brooklyn talking about Bailey, they raced to keep her quiet. But after Chase discovered the truth and Brooklyn changed her lie to make him the baby daddy, Maxie warned they'd have to keep up the charade until Peter was behind bars for good. Fortunately, although Peter was poisoned behind bars, he survived, and while being transported from the hospital to Pentonville, the villain managed to escape and kidnapped Louise. While trying to keep Austin from figuring out the truth, she kissed him, but when she found out that he was indirectly responsible for helping Victor Cassadine figure out who Bailey really was, she turned her back on the doc. With Louise missing, Maxie finally confessed her scheme to everyone and privately met with Peter on the docks, where he urged her to come away with him and Louise to be a family. Stay tuned to see how Maxie's story continues. Adblock test, why?